Well, Coach, I guess they said Sunday, so break it down. You just breaking down film, and what are you doing when the phone rings
good call.
and the call happens?
Good call. Sunday, hanging out with Kira and the kids. We had decided to give our guys off a couple days after our unfortunate buzzer-beating loss to A&M. Boy, they had a great run afterward too, didn't they? Yeah, got a call from Josh, and he invited me on a Zoom with President Moorhead and the rest of the search committee, and we had a lengthy conversation and a really productive conversation, one that excited me a lot. And at that point, I was pretty quick to jump on board, and I wanted to be a Bulldog at that point. I felt really good about it. Kira and I had a quick conversation, of course. She was equally as excited, and she runs it, of course. So she was ultimately making the decision. And from that point, it was, I've got to have some conversations with these people that I love at this place, and I did. And had a couple hard conversations, the hardest one obviously being meeting with our players in Gainesville. And at that point, it felt official. Got home again, and Kira and I had the conversation with the kids.
Mark Weiser from the Athens Banner Herald. Nice to meet you.
Mark.
It's that time of year where there's opportunities for coaches in the profession.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have your ear to the ground if something popped up, and did you think you needed a fresh start?
I didn't have my ear to the ground per se. I was excited about an NIT run. I was going to go try to win the NIT and help those young men. I love those guys, and that team in particular. We had more adversity in the past 2 years than anyone in college basketball. This one in particular, Keontae Johnson's the best player in our league. Sat next to us the entire year and performed a coaching role to the best of his abilities and a mentorship role. Jason Jatobo becomes unavailable. Just had his second surgery. Wonderful young man, can't play, and really was coming into his own after Colin Castleton had a significant shoulder injury. C.J. Felder is dealing with a hip injury. He hasn't practiced in a month. Anthony Drew, I could go on and on. We literally have been barely practicing this past month. Most practices being lately 4-on-4, 4-on-3 transition defensive drills, and the resilience, the fact that these guys continued to come back and bounce back and have positive attitudes and work and stay together and not make any excuses. Heck, I'm continuing to make excuses. Our guys just showed tremendous character, and so this team in particular, I was really, really fond of, and that was a hard conversation. And I will say this, and I wish I had said it out there. I think this current Georgia team showed a lot of that. Obviously, it was the record that no one wanted. But these guys continued to fight throughout the year. I mean, they played close games all the way till the end. Obviously, I didn't have a great game in the SEC tournament, but this group of young men, too, I thought showed a lot of resiliency and character.
I'm Charles Oden with Associated Press. You referred to the fertile recruiting in the state around Atlanta, and it's been the case for decades.
Yep.
You see evidence of it on every SEC roster. Why do you think this program has never been able to take advantage of that fertile recruiting ground, and does that cause you concern about your ability to buck that history?
Less concern and more excitement about the challenge. The opportunity here. I think that there's been pockets of success with Georgia recruiting. In fact, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I played against some of those pockets that we didn't have much success against. And then some of it is not only the guys you sign, but the retention rate, of course. And then obviously whether or not you're going to have success with those guys. We're going to continue to recruit here nationally, but we're going to start with our backyard, of course. We're going to start with this state, and there's a lot of really good players, a lot of really good coaches, high school programs, AU programs in this state. That's where we're going to start. And we're going to get the right guys. But we also want guys that really want to be here, and and play to help Georgia win and buy into our staff and how we can help develop these young men into the best players, the best versions of themselves.
Mike, the last 3 or 4 years, just to call the elephant out in the room, I mean, there's been no shortage of FBI, NCAA investigative-related stories attached to some of the more prominent and successful SEC programs. Obviously, Georgia wasn't among them. Neither was Florida. I mean, how difficult has it been with the water somewhat muddied the last few years in the league as the competition's gone up and programs have walked the gray area? And how much do you think this NIL era and this new collectives model we see could help Georgia and other programs that have stayed above board with their basketball recruiting?
Yeah, I look forward to learning more about the collective here and the NIL opportunities, how this athletic department is operating, within that enormous factor. It's become an enormous factor, right, with your current student athletes and with recruiting, NIL, of course, and we've got to adapt. I look forward to diving into that and finding any way possible, right, to help our current student athletes. That said, circling back to the first part of your question, incredibly difficult league to recruit to, fan bases, facilities, high-level staffs, of course. We just haven't gotten into that other stuff. We don't pay attention to it. We're going to recruit the guys that we are going to target. We're going to operate with the highest level of integrity. We're not going to lie to kids. I was going to say we're going to sell a vision. I don't even like saying selling. Really, we're going to tell it how it is. So this is who we are. I want you to want to be here. This is how hard we're going to work for you to become, again, the best person you can be, the best player that you can be. This is a first-class institution, and we're going to find some really good players, of course, in recruiting that really want to be here.
Having just heard from your players, we heard that there was a lack of chemistry down the stretch this season. How do you build that in your experience? What are some keys to growing that in your teams?
I think honesty, transparency, meeting, communication. How do you build chemistry with anything or anyone? You got to talk it out, and we got to be honest with each other. We've got to be real with each other and have real conversations. The best teams that I've led or been involved with in any way have learned and sacrificed to the level in which they're open to having open, productive conversations.
Dash, go ahead. Dash, and then we'll do Chuck. Go ahead, Dash.
Coach Anthony.
And I'm good, whatever you want.
Yeah, I'm Anthony Dasher, UGAsports.com.
Okay.
You talk about retention. Of course, with the transfer portal being what it is, I'm sure there'll be conversations. You're going to have your new players right now about maybe their plans. Kind of, how is that going to go? Is that going to be more immediate, chores for you?
Definitely.
First, next few days?
Yeah. First and foremost, before you even get a chance to make your staff evaluations, you got to get staff, right? And then when you do that, we've got to figure out what these guys want. Who knows what the aspirations are with some of these guys. And if there's a player that doesn't necessarily want to be here or has got one foot out the door, you want them to pursue what's best for them, what's in their best interest. It's that simple. We are going to be in the transfer portal like every team in our league this spring. It is part of the landscape of college basketball right now. We've all got to adapt.
I just wanted to ask you, Chip Towers, Atlanta Journal-Constitution, do you know of your staff? Do you know for sure that this guy's coming with you, or have you had a chance to make any decisions in terms of staff?
Zero.
Okay.
Yep.
What's your timeline on that, maybe?
I'd love to do it as quickly as possible. I'm anxious to get it done. That said, I'm not going to make any rational, emotional decisions either, because these decisions are incredibly important for the future of this program. So we're going to be very, very thorough, have lengthy conversations with guys. There are candidates out there that I've worked with that I feel very comfortable with. My phone at the same time is going nuts. You're at the University of Georgia now, and there's a lot of interest, from a lot of talented people that want to be a part of this thing like I did.
We'll go Connor, and then we'll go Palmer, and we might wrap up with that.
Yeah, I guess it's similar to the transfer portal there. What's your comfort level? Obviously, you mentioned repeatedly you want to build, and by the way, my name is Connor Riley, Dog Nation.
Yep.
what's your comfort level with using the transfer portal to fill out your roster, even though I think you've made it clear you want to build through recruiting in this program?
Yeah, it's part of recruiting, so I no problem with it at all. I thought we got 4 really good transfers last year, highly rated transfers. You know, and I'll tell you in another breath, I don't worry about the ratings, and I just told you about highly rated guys. But guys that we were really excited about, that had good years for us. Hard to replicate some of the numbers that they produced at a lower level, of course, but 4 young men that I'll have a lifelong relationship with that produced for us. The rest of our league did too. I mean, I don't know a team in our league off the top of my head that didn't have 1 or 2, even 3, 4, 5 guys that produced at a high level that were out of the portal.
Mike, with the success, Palmer Thomas, DawgsHQ, with the success that Georgia has had in football and the momentum that they have, how do you try and capitalize on that and bring it to the basketball program? And does it help that you've been at a school that has a history of football success?
Yeah, a lot of similarities in that regard. I think if you've got a guy that represents at a high level, that wants everyone else to win, that wants to meet with the basketball coach before he even has a press conference, it's pretty cool. You know, it was a neat opportunity for my family and I to spend a little time with him today, and we will absolutely talk about Georgia football when we feel like it can help us in recruiting, without a doubt.
Thanks. It's been a long 24 hours. Appreciate it. Good to meet you.
Thank you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Meet you guys.